Well. My. How things change so quickly from week to week in college football. We went from possibly talking about offensive coordinator candidates today to now we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about possibly having head coaching candidates for Oklahoma as the rumors are starting to percolate. And I feel all Nostradamus-like because last night in my live stream, I actually mentioned a certain coach that may want to come back to Oklahoma and be the replacement for Brent Venables if indeed Brent does get the axe at the end of the season, which may be an overreaction. Let's talk about it. Come riding in once again. It's the Outlaw Posse now in effect. And today's four horsemen shout outs go to Eric Taco Marino, Sheldon Lamey, Billy Townsend, and Kuz's Corner are mounted up, salad, and ready to go. And they're going to help us with today's college football debate. I can also be reached on Twitter at OCF Productions. Now, getting right to it here. I thought we was going to be just talking about offensive coordinator candidates for Oklahoma, and I will talk about some of that. But now it seems like it's percolating up that maybe Brent Venables' job is on the line as well. He, put Joe John Finley in as the interim offensive coordinator, even though he was considered the co-offensive coordinator. He still has his job. That's why you never put co on anything. I think it's patronizing and it's sort of stupid to make anybody co, because we all know that there's just one person running the offense and one person running the defense usually, in my experience. The co is just something they give to another guy to make him feel just as important, I think, which is, like I said, patronizing. But I got some offensive coordinator candidates here for y'all. I actually got this one from my boy Killer Breeze. He seems to think Joe Craddock of Tulane would be a great offensive coordinator. And then there's Brennan Marion of UNLV, was a guy that's name that was brought up numerous times in the last live stream. I think it was by Marshall Jenkins. Aaron Roderick of BYU is somebody that I came up with on my own. BYU looks like they're doing a lot better offensively this year. Aaron Roderick might be a guy that Oklahoma might want to look at BYU. And Dean Kennedy of James Madison University, which has been playing really well this year. They scored 70 points on North Carolina in Chapel Hill. Now, I know North Carolina's defense is nothing to ballyhoo about, but when you're James Madison and you just become part of Division I football, to go on the road and put 70 points on a Power 4 school in itself is saying something to me. So those are the offensive coordinator candidates that I got out there for you guys. If you guys and gals don't mind, drop it in the comment section. Tell me who y'all would like, if one of these or not one of the ones that you want. Now, the other guy that's been mentioned that I'm not a real big fan of them hiring back, although they did do him wrong by forcing him to resign. Yes, he was forced to resign. Wasn't on his own admission. He would have never resigned had he not been told, hey, you're probably going to get fired if you don't resign. That being Cale Gundy. A lot of people want to see Cale Gundy come back. Like I said, I disagree with how the situation was handled with Cale. I think he should have been given another opportunity. I think he should have been allowed to maybe give a statement and apologize for accidentally reading a lyric from a song or either something on a piece of paper that had the N word in it. He was not afforded that opportunity. I thought that was a mistake. But now that you've already forced him out, bringing him back, to me, would just cause more controversy. And that's the last thing Oklahoma needs right now is more controversy. They're already dealing with enough crap already. So as much as I like Cale Gundy, bringing him back at this point, I don't think it will be a good look for Oklahoma. But now there's people out there talking about Brent Venables may end up losing his job this year. Now, I don't know what the standard is that he's got to make for the rest of this year in order to keep his job in their eyes. And there's a lot of fans that say that he's not going to get fired. There's a contingent of Oklahoma fans that say that he will get 1 more year, regardless of what his record ends up being this year. Outside of the caveat of them losing to Maine, if they will lose to Maine, I think everybody would be in cohesion in saying that Brent Venables must go if he loses to Maine. But outside of losing to Maine, a lot of Oklahoma fans think he will keep his job for another year, even if he goes 5-7. And then there's some that say he needs to go 6-6, and some that say he needs to go 7-5. We shall see at the end of the year, I reckon. I think that if he goes 5-7, he may actually lose his job. As much as I hate to see it, because of all the injuries they've had. I know injuries you can't use as an excuse. Sometimes people say, well, that's a part of the game. But when it's as massive as it's been, you've got to actually take that into account as an extenuating circumstance for Brent Venables and his staff. Bill Bedenbow, I've given him hell, and really I shouldn't, because they've had a lot of injuries on the offensive line too, from what I've been hearing. I haven't really been keeping up with Oklahoma's injury report. Y'all can probably inform me on that much better in the comment section. But yeah, they've actually, I'm going to bring up an article for y'all right now. This is something I mentioned in my live stream last night. I didn't really know it was going to become a big thing, but it seems like I got a little bit of Nostradamus in me, because I actually brought this guy up in my live stream last night without even knowing that he was going to be a story the next day. Sooners ideal Brent Venables replacement still has Oklahoma ties. They're speaking of one Shane Beamer and his history with Oklahoma. Oklahoma was the nation's number 16 ranked squad coming into the season. The shortcomings have put Sooners head coach Brent Venables under the microscope, with fans calling for his time in Norman to end. Members of the Sooner faithful are counting their days with Venables at the helm. Things have reached a boiling point with the program supporters ready for transition of power. Luckily for them, Oklahoma may not have to cast a wide searching net to replace Brent Venables. Given his existing ties to Oklahoma, South Carolina, head coach Shane Beamer would be a near seamless alternative to Venables. Under his 47-year-old's tutelage, the Gamecocks have been one of the more pleasant surprises in the SEC throughout the 2024 campaign. Although South Carolina is really no better than Oklahoma right now. Ain't they 4-4 or 4-3? 5-3 or something like that? They're not much better than Oklahoma right now. I think they're 4-4 or 4-3. Oklahoma's ideal Brent Venables replacement should be Shane Beamer, according to them. Beamer served as Oklahoma's associate head coach from 2018 to 20 under Venables' predecessor, Lincoln Riley, primarily working with tight ends and H-backs. Moreover, he played a role in special teams. However, most importantly, his personal relationships with existing and ex-Oklahoma administrators run deep and are worth mentioning because of the current state of affairs. As Beamer discussed before his recent return to Oklahoma as a visitor in Week 8, his kinship he developed with Sooners Brain Trust remains. His affinity for athletic director Joe Castiglione and men's golf coach Ryan Heibel is clear. Plus, former deputy athletics director for external engagement and advancement Zach Selman is a dear friend. That's the reason behind Shane Beamer. And he looked like he was trying to make a point when he came here. Now, he ended up taking the foot off the gas in the second half, but in the first half, man, he was going for two when there was no real reason to go for two, to make it 32-3 or 32 to whatever it was at the time. The math just ain't there to go for two at that point, especially in the second quarter. He did it, and he made it. And then on the last play of the second half, they faked a field goal. It was almost like he was trying to embarrass Oklahoma, or maybe, give them a little hello to say, hey, y'all made a mistake, because he was a candidate last time Oklahoma's job came open. He was a candidate before they hired Brent Venables, and maybe he had something to prove. So, I don't know. What do y'all think about that? Now, if Brent Venables does get axed at the end of the year, I have some other candidates outside of Shane Beamer, because Like a few people have told me offline, like Killer Breeze, he doesn't think Shane Beamer should be a candidate for the job because he really hasn't proven himself enough at South Carolina, although he has made them a decent program and been taking them to bowls, which at South Carolina is sometimes hard to do. It's not the easiest place in the world to win. But here are some head coaching candidates that I think you should at least give a call. Even if you think they're out of reach, you should at least call them and make them say no. And then there's a few candidates on here that you definitely could get. Josh Heupel will probably be the first person that everybody wants them to call. He's an Oklahoma alumnus. He beat Oklahoma earlier this year. A lot of people would want him to be the first call. Me personally, I think he's a little overrated. Yes, he beat Alabama, but they tried to give Alabama that game. If Alabama hadn't have been so Keystone Cop about the shit in the first half, they would have had a 20-point lead at halftime. But, we bumbled that away. The win over Alabama, to me, doesn't hold a lot of weight because Alabama's just not acting like Alabama right now, even though they blew out Missouri, but there was only a half a Missouri team. Another topic for another day. But, yeah, Josh Heupel probably the first one everybody wants to call. Me, personally, I think y'all probably need to stay away from Josh. I think there's some things there about Josh that I don't quite trust. Jeff Traylor of UTSA has built a great program down at UTSA. Been very competitive, been taking them to bowl games. I think he's a very good coach and somebody you could look at if you can't get one of these big names. Jeff Traylor is an up-and-comer. Boy, Jonathan Lewis won't like to hear that because that's his second favorite team. Matt Campbell of Iowa State has been a candidate off and on. Iowa State slipped a little bit last year or so, but when he first got there, they were really, really good, and he was a hot name. Then it sort of backed off a little bit because he had sort of a down year with Iowa State, but he's got them back in the top 10 again, and this time they're undefeated, and they may be about to go to the playoffs if they are able to win the Big 12. They'll probably have to go through BYU to do that. But y'all could definitely get him. Y'all could definitely come up with the money to outbid Iowa State. Chris Kleiman of Kansas State, he won like 6 or 7 national championships at North Dakota State before taking over at Kansas State after a legend in Bill Snyder, and he's done an admirable job. He's not been like winning national championships or anything, but he did win the Big 12 championship and played Alabama in a bowl. So I think Chris Kleiman would definitely be another guy that y'all could get that's got head coaching experience. That's where I think Oklahoma needs to go this time. They need to go and finally break the mold a little bit and stop hiring these up-and-coming assistants who don't have head coaching experience and get someone with a little bit of head coaching experience. These two guys right here, you may not be able to get them, but you should call them. Lane Kiffin of Ole Miss. Ole Miss just beat Oklahoma. I understand that, but I think that Oklahoma may be a little more prestigious in Lane's eyes and may have a better amount of resources and tradition to get Lane Kiffin maybe to the playoffs easier and maybe even win a national title in Lane Kiffin's eyes. So I would definitely call Lane Kiffin and make him say no. Ryan Day of Ohio State. You might think that's far-reaching, but Ohio State has been very ungracious to Ryan Day the last couple of years, even though he's won double-digit wins every season because he's been losing to Michigan here recently. Now, early on in his career, he did beat Michigan, so that's not like he's never beat Michigan. Plus, we all know what Michigan done last year and what they've been doing for a couple of years, and that's basically stealing people's signs and cheating. So if Ryan Day keeps being made to feel like he's not wanted there with him winning double-digit wins every year, Ryan Day may tell Ohio State to kiss his ass, regardless if they fire him or not. He may leave on his own. Ryan Day would be a great coach to get. I think that they would really regret losing Ryan Day if they push him out. They're gonna feel the bang like Nebraska did when they forced Frank Solich out. And these are some more candidates that just come off the top of my head. Bob Chesney of James Madison. He's done a great job at James Madison. And Barry Odom at UNLV. He's done a great job at UNLV so far. And I know when he's at Arkansas, he was at Missouri. My bad. When he was at Missouri, he had him on the brink of being respectable, and then he just somehow know that he just lost the team and ended up losing his job. But I think he'd still be a guy that you might want to consider. Now, these guys right here, they're just trying to be a little funny. This guy right here is probably Killer Breeze's favorite, Dabo Swinney of Clemson, another guy that hasn't really been shown a lot of gratitude by a fan base that should show gratitude, considering he's won 2 national championships at Clemson, more than any other coach in Clemson history, because they only had 1 national title until Dabo won it. The last one was 1981 under Danny Ford. So, but they've been showing him a lot of ingratitude, very ungracious towards Dabo Swinney for what he's done for Clemson football. And Dabo may be in the same mold as Ryan Day and about fed up with Clemson, may be a candidate for him. Bob Petrino, as you know, he won at Arkansas when he was a head coach. He's had some shady stuff happen, that some baggage that Oklahoma may not want to be associated with. But as far as winning games, Bob Petrino's always been able to win games, even won at Western Kentucky. So, and the last one, and the favorite one of mine, probably not. I hate this one, but anyway, he's been winning a lot here lately, so maybe we can bring Con Time Deion Sanders and the Con Time Shades to Boomer Center. Maybe Con Time Deion Sanders will bring the bling bling to Oklahoma and bring back that Boomer Center spirit. I hope not. I hope y'all don't hire Con Time, man. I'd be pissed off, man. I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could support Oklahoma if they hired Con Time. But that's my rant on this. You guys and gals, drop in the comment section. Tell me what you think about all this. If you don't mind, there's a little heart down here with a little money dollar sign in the middle. If you want to make a one-time donation to the program, help keep the lights on, smash that heart, throw a few dollars in the coffers. Also, you can join the Outlaw Posse and get your random full horseman shout out like those guys did earlier in the show, as well as possibly the comment of the day. And you get a badge and you're deputized and you're in the Outlaw Posse for $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week, just a half a bottle of water out for the Outlaw. Us out, like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. That's the big 4, and they're all absolutely free. We're almost to 5,000 subscribers. Don't take but 2 seconds to hit that subscribe button, man. Then share me out to your friends. And once again, that'll get the party crunk and push the algorithm. KMCA to all the other teams. Class is now officially dismissed.